What is up, guys? PQ49 here. We are back on the ant colony farm type thingy. And we're playing some more SimAnt today. And I hope you guys aren't tired of SimAnt. I played this a little bit last week, and I'm just continuing that game that I started last week. I actually played a little bit off camera because I love this game so much. This is a game from my childhood. And it's kind of a simplistic game, I guess, if you compare it to today's games. Obviously, it's from, I don't know how old this game is, but it's old. So just chill out, grab yourself a beverage, and just listen to it, really, if you're not interested in SimAnt. Okay? One thing I do want to talk about before we get to the question is that it was kind of a disappointing week for us. As far as the Creative Question of the Week video goes, we didn't get too much discussion this week. We didn't get too many questions. And it's kind of making me question whether or not we should continue this series. I mean, I would love to continue this series. But in order for this series to exist, we got to have some type of interaction. We didn't get it much last week. So, I don't know. It's just, I mean, I kind of understand if a lot of you aren't ready for this type of material. I mean, you are asking the questions, right? Okay, but to be fair, you know, I always answer the questions in my own little way, and not everyone is ready to hear what I have to say. I totally get that. For those of you who are here and who are participating and who are asking questions, I really do appreciate it. I don't want to punish you since you were participating, but it's just, you know, we gotta have juice for this smoothie. Right? This locomotive needs some gas in order to run. So I don't know. If there's no video next week, you know what happened. I guess it's up to you. Really, if you want a video next week, you better ask some questions. You better get involved. You better start discussing stuff. Anyway, let's get into today's question. I want to thank those people who participated. We only got 2 questions today, or this week, I should say. But they were great questions, and they were in the same vein. So we're going to talk about both of them. The first one was from Majestic Goat, and he asked, how to meditate, what good can it bring to one's life? And HDMI Cable asked, do you think Native Americans meditated and opened their third eyes like you have? What are your thoughts on their way of life? Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, really. I really do. And those are some great questions, and I know a lot of you are going to groan, oh, he's talking about meditating again. I never get sick of it, I'll tell you that much. But, you know, I think it's something that we all need to hear because it's not enough meditation going on. Now, in order to answer these questions, I first want to talk about what meditating is a little bit. Because, you know, there's so many misconceptions. Society has programmed you to have a certain belief about meditating, what it means. A lot of you hear that word and you think of some guru with a long beard and ratty robe sitting on top of a mountain in that little position, right? And that's, I guess, one type of meditation, sure. All right, I'm sure there's some Buddhists on a mountain somewhere right now, okay? And I'm sure they're cold, and you know, that's one way to do it. But there are so many different types of meditation, right? To me, meditation means one thing: getting in contact with the part of you that exists on a different frequency, on a different level, on a different dimension, whatever label you want to put it as, right? And there's so many different ways to do that. Some people go into a form of meditation when they create art, right? You see these guitarists doing a guitar solo and they're just in a trance, right? It's because they're letting the music flow through them. They're in a state of receiving. And that's really what it is. It's about being a state of receiving instead of giving. I'll talk more about that in a brief moment. You know, you look at a sports athlete who is in the zone, right? When a sports athlete, their brain is shut off. They're not thinking about how to play their sport. They're just doing it. That's a form of meditation. All right. When you think of, I don't know, playing music, playing an instrument, painting, drawing, whatever gets you into that zone, just walking through the woods by yourself is a form of meditation. So don't get caught up in these society-created stigmas about what meditation has to be. Now, the form of meditation that I like is definitely sitting quietly and going into a deep state, right? That's the form of meditation that I do. And I'm not saying it's for everyone. I'm saying everyone should do it, but I'm not saying it's good. You know, you're going to be receptive to it. And that's the name of the game, is being receptive, right? Through your whole life. Think about your life and your day-to-day, every single minute of every single hour of every single day of every single week of every single year of every single decade. Your mind is projecting. is projecting thoughts, projecting ideas, projecting actions to do. And your mind is just nonstop chatter telling you all these things. I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm sick, I want to go here, I want to go there, I hate this person, I like this person. Your mind doesn't shut up, okay? And that's a state of projecting. Meditation is flipping the script 180 degrees and receiving, turning that thing off, turning that brain, that ego mind, that ego chatter, that monkey mind, as I like to call it, because like a monkey never stops chatting away, turning that off and finally saying, okay, I'm going to let what wants to come in, instead of always projecting outward. So I think that's what meditation is. It's a state of allowing, right? It's actually, people think of meditation as something you do. It's the opposite. It's something that you don't do. You do nothing, right? You turn your mind off so that your intuition has time to speak to you, has the chance to speak to you, right? Do you ever have a friend that never shuts up, that always wants to tell you about their day? They have a million things to talk about, but when it's your time to talk, they either don't listen or they change the subject really quickly, or they're just, that they're just thinking of what they're going to say next. That's your ego mind, is that person. Do you really want to have that going on in your head 24 hours a day? I don't think so. I know I don't. So it's good to take a time out every once in a while. I started meditating at 10 minutes a day, and I moved up from that to like an hour a day. And then once I got kind of really good at it, I kind of scaled back and did it less and less. But, it's different for everybody. And I'm not going to tell you how to meditate or what you should do. This is your own personal journey. I'm just going to share my experience, and you can figure out what this means for you. So what is meditation really? So it is being receptive, sure. But on a deeper level, once you get to that receptive part, once you allow your ego mind to shut off and you're starting receiving stuff, what I think happens is that you're finally letting the aspect of you, I call it your higher self, the aspect of you that is not physical. Some people call it the soul in religious terms, I guess. So you can call it the soul, you can call it your higher self, your higher aspect, your God self. These are all names for the same thing. And that's just the part of you that vibrates at a different frequency, right? You're not just a bag of flesh and bones, okay? You are so much more than that. And meditation is connecting with whatever that is. And there's so many different belief systems. I'm just sharing again my what I believe. And I believe that we are actually fifth dimensional beings who are having a 3-dimensional experience. That's what I believe is happening to you right now, and to me, and to all of us, is that we are light beings who have we've animated this fleshy body. And this fleshy body has an ego mind that doesn't shut up. So we can't hear our higher self. We can't hear our God self. We can't hear our soul speaking, which it does. It speaks to us. And so meditation is the way to turn off the ego mind to the point where you can hear those things. And when you hear those things, who knows what's going to happen? You receive guidance, you receive inspiration, you receive knowledge, wisdom, clarity. All these things that happen because your fifth dimensional aspect is in tune with all that is. It knows everything. It's connected to everything. Everything is connected at the higher realms. And when you connect to that thing knows all. So that's why meditation, I find, is so important. Because if you don't meditate, you're only operating with your ego. And your ego is only using logic. And logic can only get you so far. Especially with how limited the knowledge of human beings are. We are so stupid in the grand scheme of things. As far as knowledge of what's going on around us. I was reading the other day. The human eye can see 1% of the visible light spectrum that we know about. 1% of all the light that we think exists is what we can see. So what's going on with the other 99% of the light spectrum? I can answer that, but I don't know if you'll believe me. So, for those of you who are interested in meditation, I think I need to explain a little bit more of what it is and how we do it. How do you turn off your ego mind? Because so many people try to meditate. I've met so many people who are inspired by my story and what I say, and they say, I tried meditating, I gave it a good shot, but it didn't work. So to those people, I want to say this. It's not easy. It's very difficult. But you have to look at it illogically. There is no logic when it comes to this sort of thing, right? You have to throw logic out the window. You have to be open-minded. You have to be willing to accept that anything is possible. Let me say that again. In order to meditate properly, you have to be willing to accept that anything is possible. And if you can get to that point, you can meditate. And getting to that point requires imagination. The most important thing in order for you to meditate is to have an active imagination. Like, for instance, if you try this exercise with me right now. We'll see how close you are to meditating. Close your eyes, and I want you to picture an ice cream truck. So close your eyes and see that ice cream truck in your mind. Now, can you tell me what color the truck is? Can you tell me who's operating the truck? Can you tell me how much a rocket pop costs? Can you tell me what kind of cones they offer? Can you tell me what the sound of the horn sounds like? If you can't answer those questions and you only see a white blob, then in order to meditate, you're going to have to work on your imagination. But if you see every detail of that ice cream truck, then you're going to be a great meditator, because meditation is about imagination. Whatever you can imagine will become real, will become reality in the fourth and higher dimensions. What people don't understand, what humans don't understand, is they're so powerful that their imaginations are being created all the time. Whenever you imagine something, it's being created in the astral realm, in the fourth dimension. You've just created it. There's no time and space in the astral realm, so you don't need materials to create it. If you imagine a seven-headed dragon with cat legs and an elephant's tail and a rhinoceros horn, if you've imagined that, you've created it in the astral realm. And if you believe your creation, then you can create it in the 3D realm here on Earth. Of course, if you create a seven-headed dragon, most of us aren't going to believe that's real, which is why we can't create it in the third dimensional realm, because we're limited in our imagination. Because no matter how free I think my imagination is, there's that part of me where society's programmed me to believe that seven-headed dragons with cat legs and elephant tails and rhinoceros horns can exist. So subconsciously, I believe that can't exist. Therefore, I can't create it in the 3D realm. But if I were to truly and utterly believe that it was possible to create anything, then I could create anything. But, it's impossible on Earth because of the way that we are set up as a civilization. So I get sidetracked. I got sidetracked a little bit. So that's what it takes to meditate, is creativity and imagination. And once you can start to do those things, you can start to turn off your ego mind. So I think that's kind of the first stumbling block that people get stuck on with meditation, is that they don't realize that it's play. You're playing, right? You have to go back to third grade or whatever when you were finger painting or watercoloring or whatever you were doing. Remember that energy, that feeling of just being free to create whatever? That's the energy that you have to take with you into a meditation in order to get something out of it. If you're going to go into it logically with expectation, with, this is going to happen this way and it's going to go that way and it's going to happen at this time. If you have that kind of attitude, it's going to be impossible. Literally impossible. You've just blocked yourself. But if you go into a meditation saying anything is possible, anything can happen during this meditation, let's see where this goes. Ego mind, shut up for a second. If you can do those things, then you're going to start to open up to the powers of meditation. You're going to start to see how powerful it really is. So that's kind of the first steps, I think. And I think that's why so many people who try it fail, is because they don't realize that. They take their logic mind into it. So let's see. Was that everything I wanted to talk about? How to meditate? What good can it bring to one's life? I've talked about that a bunch. It brings balance. It brings knowledge. It brings safety, security, feelings of love. When you connect to the earth, which is something that I do every single day, is I'll connect my energy to the earth's energy, and it brings a sense of groundedness. It brings a sense of love and connection, and it just makes me feel good that I'm connected to Mother Earth. And so that's one thing that you can do. You can connect to anything, really. You can connect to to animals, plants, other people. You can connect to higher entities who are existing in the higher realms. You can connect to aliens. You can connect to anything that you can think of. Anything that exists, you can connect to it. And you can interact with it. And you can learn from it. And so, you have guides, you have angels, you have your higher self, you have all sorts of things going on in the higher realms that your logic mind really has no conception of. It just doesn't, because it can't, because it's being ruled by a limited ego. So, that's kind of the start of it. That should be enough to get you started if you are looking to get into meditation, or if you're at least curious about what it is. And again, I just want to stress that it's just not it's not just sitting there with your eyes closed in that weird lotus position, right? That's not the only kind of meditation there is. Which brings me to the second question. Do you think Native Americans meditated and opened their third eyes like you have? What are your thoughts on their way of life? Absolutely. The thing about Native Americans is that they were far more connected to the earth. In our society now, we are disconnected to the earth to the point where we're harming it. We're damaging it. That's how disconnected we are. Native Americans lived in the earth. They depended on the earth. They gave back to the earth. And therefore, they had a beautiful symbiotic relationship with her. Right? And so their third eyes were absolutely opened. Absolutely. They had shamans. Right? The job of a shaman was that of like a doctor. Today we have doctors who only use logic. They read something in a book, they believe what they read, and then they spread that knowledge to everyone. That's what a doctor in our society does. But a shaman in Native American society took a look at you energetically, and they found the part of you that was imbalanced on an energetic level. And instead of, healing you, what they did is they provided the space for you to heal yourself. That is absolutely connected. That's when you open up your third eye. That's the way that you heal. Is you heal yourself through your energetic imbalances. You heal your imbalances. You become balanced in the energetic body, which will manifest in the physical body. And you'll be healthy in the physical if you're healthy in the energetic. So that's kind of the role of the shaman in Native American culture, was to heal you by giving you the space and the knowledge and the wisdom that you need to heal yourself. And they meditated in different ways. I think Native Americans were more into dancing and singing, and that's a form of meditation. When you see them dancing around a fire, right? You're bringing in all these elements. You have the fire, in front of you. You have the earth beneath your feet. They don't wear shoes. You have the wind through their vocal cords, right? And you have water, which is, our bodies are all water. So you're bringing those four elements together to kind of praise the earth and celebrate the earth and celebrate and show gratitude for being on this earth and this earth for thanking it for showing you that same gratitude by allowing you to live there. So it's just Native Americans were so far advanced compared to this society. We wiped them out in favor of this logic-based society and kind of cast aside all their accumulated wisdom, right? And I think that's a large part of why they were massacred, is because those people who were in control of the West, Spain, England, and the Americas as they got more powerful, they were all logic-based societies. And, monarch societies, pyramid societies, where certain people are better than others. The people at the top of the pyramid rule all, and the people at the bottom of the pyramid are slaves, right? And those societies, if the top loses their power, then they don't like it. You know what I mean? If the top of the society loses their power, then it all crumbles before them. So what they had to do with the Native American society, which was everyone's equal, everyone's, it's love, it's there's a chief, but that's only for organization. They had to eradicate them in order to promote the logical way of life. So that's why the Indians were massacred, basically. Anyway, I digress again. So I think absolutely we should be modeling our culture after what they knew and what cultures from thousands of years ago knew. I think we're regressing as a species. I think we're moving backwards from where we were supposed to be headed. But I think very soon we're going to be headed in the right direction as this awakening, as more and more people start start to meditate. They start to get in contact with the higher realms. They start to bring knowledge down and wisdom down that can help us get more in tune with our planet, more in tune with ourselves, more in tune with the higher realms, the spiritual side, if you will. As our society becomes more in tune with all that, we're going to start to move away from that pyramid scheme, and we're going to start to move towards a state of balance. And that means no more disease, no more conflict, no more wars or fighting for resources, no more some people are rich and some are poor. I mean, it's all barbaric as far as where the Native Americans were in their culture. So we have a lot to learn from them, and I think we are headed back in that direction, because there's only so long this logic-based society can stay on top. There's only a certain amount of time before it all crumbles, because it's not sustainable. I mean, look what we're doing to the planet. We're destroying it. We're polluting it. We're burning it. We're doing all these terrible things to the planet, and she's gonna, at some point, she's gonna say enough's enough. I'm gonna kill all of you guys unless you go back to the way things were with the Native Americans or the cultures before them as well. So there's a lot to learn from Native Americans. There's a lot to learn about and through meditation, and I highly encourage you guys to try it. But again, remember, you have to be of a different mindset than what you're having right now. There's no logic. You gotta throw logic out the window. It's creativity, it's imagination, it's a sense of wonder and amazement at living on this planet where anything could happen, anything is possible. So that's what I want to say about meditation. I want to thank you guys, HDMI Cable, and to Majestic Goat, for those great questions. Thank you for interacting. Again, I need you guys. I can't do this by myself, or else who am I talking to? So I don't know if this series will continue. I hope it will, but I'll leave the ball in your courts. All right? So that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you guys for interacting. Thank you for watching. Like this if you like it, and put a question in the comment section. So I'll talk to you guys later. Happy SimAnting? Peace.